Hello everybody, I'm Alfred, and I'd like to talk about AOC. That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a champion for the leftists and for socialism and communism in America. She went to the Met Gala, and the cost of a ticket is $30,000. AOC went there. This is a democratic socialist, as she calls herself, and maskless, no masks, and she went to this party, with a gown that at the back was painted on "Tax the Rich." Now, this is an event for the rich. She's going there to mingle and party with the rich, and at the same time, virtue signaling. That is her form of justifying her being there and socializing. Of course, in the current system of the world, it's built in such a way that for you to so-called advance, you have to rub shoulders with certain groups of people and climb that ladder or ascend that ladder of success. That is how the world system is. Now, that is not how the church system is. In Christianity, you climb the ladder that no one can bring you down from by following the word of God, by obeying the word of God, by obeying the instructions of God, by doing what God tells you to do. That is how you climb the ladder of success. And success is measured differently. It is not measured by the money you have in your bank account. You see, because God will provide all your needs according to his riches in glory. That means that you are not looking at your bank accounts. It doesn't say that God will provide for your storehouses according to his riches in glory. It does not say that God will provide for your banks according to his riches in glory. It does not say that God will provide for your bank accounts. God will provide for your store of wealth. He said God will provide for you. So if you are looking at your store of wealth, if you are looking at your banks, if you are looking at your business, if you are looking at your bank accounts as God providing for you, you are looking at the wrong way. God is the source. The bank account is just the bank accounts. And God will get that money to you. He doesn't need to pass that money through you from your bank account or through your banks or through your storehouses or through your warehouses or through your businesses. God will still get that money from you. That is how he will provide for you. He will provide for you. So that is something that is for every Christian. But of course, you get it by two things. Faith. First of all is giving, and giving is by faith. You have to follow the principles. You have to be a giver. God loves a cheerful giver. Whatsoever a man sow, that shall he also reap. Don't be deceived. God is not mocked. So you have to be a giver. And then, by doing that, you are setting up, you are igniting a principle that must work. So you have to be a giver. And you also have to have faith and believe in the word of God. Believe that, yes, God is your provider. Believe that you are a joint heir with Christ, so you do not lack. And then these things will manifest in your life. These things will, be so. It is not going to be dependent on your bank account and all of that. If your bank account increases, fine. But whether or not it increases or not, that is not what your eyes are on. So these are things you have to understand. Now, to get to what AOC is doing, this virtue signaling and what this people like her are doing, and they are pushing for this thing. They don't see the hypocrisy of this whole thing. They don't see the hypocrisy of it. She is exploiting people. She is a pimp, basically, just like our Sharpton and co. Beware of all these people who, they say one thing, they say they are fighting against these people. Oh, these people are evil, these people are devilish, Yet you see them mingling with them and doing all kinds of things with them. And, how much money do you think AOC has, from her Netflix deals, from, other deals, from her being AOC? That platform, we live in a day and age where popularity is monetized. People being aware of your existence is monetized. People knowing you exist, people seeing you is monetized. Popularity has now been monetized than ever before in history. Popularity, especially on the internet, now has financial value. So how much do you think AOC is worth? I would say, how much do you think AOC generates? She's by no means poor. And her being all white men are evil kind of female, she's married to, a wealthy white dude. Which is very interesting. A lot of all these people who are all white people are evil. they either marry a white person or they go and live in a white neighborhood. Or sometimes they do both. It always happens. But let's get to this idea of tax the rich. First of all, the rich already pay over 60% of the taxes in America and in many nations around the world. So when you are saying tax the rich, you are saying that this is... Why don't you ask yourself a question? Why is it that less than 2% of the population is paying for over 60, some cases 70 or 80% of the taxes and the entire revenue that the nation is receiving? Why don't you ask yourself, how do we make other people, the remaining 99% or the remaining 98%, how do we make them productive? Why is it that we are taxing these people so much for everything, and then you want to ask them for more taxes, but you are leaving forth the 98 or 99% that are unproductive, that are not bringing anything in? Yet, in spite of all your increasing of the taxes of this 2%, or 1%, in spite of your increasing their taxes, they are still billionaires and they are still getting richer. Why don't you ask yourself, why don't we make other people like them? Why don't we tell the rich to teach the poor what you know? What is it you know? Let us teach the poor to start acting like the rich. Let them do the things that make the rich so productive, that make the rich keep on increasing and making money. You are taxing them more. The more you are taxing them, the more you are increasing the gap between the rich and the poor. So you need to ask yourself the question, why is it that these ones are so prosperous? Rather than attacking them for their prosperity and for their growth, ask yourself, these unproductive ones, why don't we help them? You see, a lot of all this socialism and this so-called charity and concern for the poor, it's all about hatred for the rich, and that is what fuels socialism. You are angry and you are hateful that this person has so much. And at the end of the day, the people who are doing all these things, the revolutionaries in this movement of let us hate the rich, in the process they become rich themselves, but they don't trade away the wealth. Look at, for example, the idea of Robin Hood. Robin Hood is the wealthiest and the safest person in the woods of Sherwood. Let us put ourselves in that scenario, in that kind of mythical scenario of a Robin Hood stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. When somebody is stealing from rich merchants and giving to the poor, plus himself, he is now the richest person. He's now the safest person. He has now created a business model that puts his business above all others. Because now, in that kind of situation of Robin Hood, you see, he's stealing from the rich. He has the support of the so-called poor, who are now eating. They have created a business. They are putting in work, they are putting in research, because they have to research and study who they are going to steal from and make sure their security is this and all of that. So they have created a business model out of making everybody poor, out of stealing from the one that is productive. You see, it is like some people are actually in the business of creating products or turning food, working the soil, bringing out food, making the economy productive. Then somebody else starts a business to steal from everyone that is making everything productive. So what they are doing is actually they are destroying the entire economy and the entire society. That is what they are doing. That is what their business model is doing. At the end of the day, everybody will soon have nothing, because the more you steal from that merchant, let's say you steal everything he has. What does he have now? He has nothing. You see, so you cannot steal from him tomorrow again. Why don't you start your own merchant business? Why don't you start your own farm? Why don't you start your own thing that is productive? You see, that is the question that should be asked, and that is what should be taught. However, another side of things that people need to understand about this socialists and all this democratic socialists, as they call themselves, they want to make it palatable. Socialism cannot be democratic, because there's nobody that will willingly give away what they worked for to somebody who didn't work at all. So socialism can never be democratic. Democracy has to be with the will of the people, what the people want. The people who work for money don't want to give their money to the person who didn't work and stayed at home and wants to eat. So socialism can never be democratic. There's nothing democratic about it. It doesn't matter how you paint something. It doesn't make it different from what it is. You know, just like a lot of people want to paint abortion as women's rights. You can call it women's right all you want, but it has nothing to do with women's rights. It is murder. It is murder of innocence. It is child sacrifice. You know, and even the Church of Satan has, you know, has come out to defend and fight for abortion. You know, when it comes to Texas and, you know, the Heart bill that was passed. But in any case, you have to understand that socialism leads to the worst case scenario of monarchy. You know, the worst kinds of monarchy that it is, because it will establish a situation where everybody is poor except one person who is controlling everything. So it's kind of like the ideology of all men are created equal, but some men are more equal than others. There will be some men that are more equal than others, and it's going to be the globalists, the select few. You know, there are some people who think that they are select, but they are pawns. They will be forgotten. You know, in the plan, and this is the thing about following evil or working for an evil organization. You know, there's no honor among thieves. You are going to be left behind. You think that perhaps, like by being a Freemason, when the New World Order comes, you benefit. No, it is only those at the very, very top. Not even of Freemasonry. You'll be amazed that Freemason is actually a small thing, because you see, there are different organizations that have been infiltrated. So which one is at the top that controls everything? You don't see it. But one thing is for sure, those people have many billions. So if you do not have many billions, you are not among. You are going to be under. You see, you are not going to be at the top of things when that, let us assume that New World Order comes and the evil people are successful in bringing it. So even in that case scenario, you are not going to benefit. You are probably going to be one of the people in a concentration camp. You see, so you have to be mindful of these things. You have to be wise. You have to be smart. You know, and understand all these things. That being said, we must vote out people like AOC, and we must fight against such ideologies. How do you fight against lies? With the truth. We must pump the truth out there, you know, via every medium of communication: television, reality TV shows, movies, cartoons, comics, music, you know, the media, news media, print media, online media, via every single thing, you know, through the school systems. We must take back the schools, and we must knock out socialism and, you know, all these teachings of communism, you know, this stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. We must tell people the truth. We must let people know that the rich are already super taxed. And by increasing, this is a strategy, because you are not increasing the taxes of everybody in the world. When you increase the taxes in a nation, or let us say in a region, what happens to the rich there? They shift to another place, and then what happens to that society? It crumbles, because they no longer have money. And what happens to the young people there? The young people who aspire for a better life, who want to be able to provide for their families, for their parents, the young people who want to become rich, they move to another state or another region where the tax is not heavy, so they can grow. Why did America prosper so much under Trump? Because of the tax costs, because of how much he cut taxes. That is why America prospered. Now, when you create a new America with high taxes, understand that every nation is in competition with other nations. Every nation is a business. You see, a giant business. Every nation is a business, and it's in competition with other nations. It's a business that is in competition with other businesses. So when you increase the taxes in your nation, there is no hope of anybody becoming rich. And now you have created a system that leads all rich people to become poor. And understand that people are rich because they are making financial decisions, wise financial decisions. So what will somebody who is making wise financial decisions do? They will move to another nation or move to another region where they will not be taxed as much. Then what happens to that nation? That nation becomes greater than your own, and then they can exert their authority over your own and tell your nation they should do whatever. You know, America has been the leader of the free world for so long, but you can see with the things that Obama is doing, with the things that, you know, Obama did and is still doing, because he's still actively doing nonsense, and with the things that Biden is completing, you can see that It is a deliberate move to destroy America and every greatness. When you look at all the fights against the image of what it means to be an American, Americans today don't know what that means. All this hatred towards white people, all this white man is evil. Oh, let us replace every white character with an African character or an Asian character. All these kinds of things. All this war against, oh, let us bring down this statue. It's a statue of a white man. Let us bring it down. All of that's going on in America. It is an intentional thing to destroy, the core of everything that makes America, America. Everything that would look like, this might inspire America. It is being destroyed. But guess what? It makes other nations great. And those nations, when they become first world country, when they become the world leader, what do you think they'll do? Look at China. It's working with the Taliban. China does not care about the Christians that are being killed in Afghanistan. China does not care about all the women that are being beaten. The last time women went out to protest that they want to still be able to go to work. Now they are not going to allow them to go to work. All the education that they got, all the schooling that they did when America was there, it is all gone. They are now going to have to stay at home. The Taliban is not allowing women work. The Taliban is not going to allow women drive. All the women who learned how to drive cars, they now have to sit at home in Afghanistan. The women went to protest that they want their rights protected, they want to still be able to work, and they got flogged and beaten. That is it. And China is working with them. China does not care. All China knows is that, you run your country however you want. At the end of the day, we have this deal and that deal, and you give us this money. That is all they care. So that is the future of the world under a lot of other nations. That is not what America would have allowed. Previously, America would have said, even if they were not invading, they would have said, look, if you want us to work with you, you have to meet this human rights principle, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to be in line with certain human rights laws. You have to allow women go to work if they want to work. You have to allow women drive if they want to drive. You see, you have to allow this and allow that. Otherwise, we are not going to do any business with you. We are going to place trade restrictions and all kinds of things on you. And all those kinds of things help keep some nations in check. But look at what has happened with Biden. Under Trump refunded the U.S. military, which had been defunded. Wars were being fought. And a lot of people who were investing in the war, in the military-industrial complex, were the ones that were getting paid. The equipment of America was terrible. It was getting outdated. Russia was getting more advanced. Even though Russia does not want to show their strengths, they were getting more advanced when it comes to the technology that the Russian military had. However, the US, it was not the case. You see, but under Trump, Trump forced and pushed forth his bill to make the American military get funded and, get a lot of weapons. But now, what has happened to all those weapons? It has now been intentionally left behind in Afghanistan. It shows you this was intentional. They have brought America back to the state that it was. It has brought America's military back to the state that it was when it was Obama, with poor military equipment. So that if a nation wants to hit on America, it can. It wants to decrease the strength and the power and the ability of America and America's military. This is something that people should look at and see, wow. It is not about Republicans. Look at what George Bush came out to do during this past 9/11, this 9/11, September 11 memorial. George Bush came out to insult all Trump supporters and compare them with the Taliban and with the terrorists of 9/11. What kind of madness is that? It shows you what he's about, and it shows you what establishment Republicans are. Establishment Republicans and these Democrats, you see, it's a corrupt system of evil people who do not care about the people. So we must be wise. We must get into positions of authority. Let good men, we must do that, and we must drain the swamp, because the swamp is on both sides. The swamp is on the Republican side and it's on the Democrat side. The swamp may be more pronounced on the Democrats, especially after Trump, but the swamp is on both sides. Look at what Biden did, and he has not been impeached. There has not been any call to impeach him. Nobody is talking about it. Everybody on the Democrat side and the mainstream media news is happy. Imagine if this was under Trump. All those weapons have now been left for the Taliban. And interestingly, reports have come out showing that the military bases that the American military left for the Afghanistan army, not the Taliban, they disabled it. They put out power, so there was no electricity, and they plugged out all the computers and everything. So even the ability, you see, for them to put on lights, normal lights, was not there. There was no ability to turn it back on. Why would you leave weapons behind? Why would you leave ammunition behind? Then the Afghanistan army that is supposed to fight against the Taliban, you now disable their ability to even put on electricity. What were you planning? This is intentional. It is not like the Taliban chased away the American soldiers under Biden. This is intentional. And this is a way to destabilize and destroy everything President Trump did with the Abraham Accord. This goes to show you that it is possible to bring peace and a peaceful world where people live in peace. But it is certain politicians and certain evil people with nefarious aims and thoughts and plans that are compromising everything because they have their end goal of creating chaos here, so that they will eliminate certain enemies and certain people, so that they will eventually have a certain platform to show up as the hero and rule the world. That is what they want. That being said, check out alfred.vip for more. God bless you.